Most people ignore these coins every day, but serious collectors know the truth. These 4 Roosevelt dimes are extremely rare, and one of them could change your life. What if I told you that a simple Roosevelt dime, a coin most Americans ignore every single day, is quietly turning ordinary people into silent treasure holders? Not a gold bar, not a lottery ticket, not a hidden vault, a dime. And today, we uncovered 4 Roosevelt dimes that have shocked today's auction market. These are not ordinary coins. These are coins that serious collectors are fighting for behind closed bidding rooms. Coins that look small, but carry the weight of history, mystery, and explosive value. One of them, the first coin we're revealing today, looks almost ordinary. It has gray and brown spots, even yellowish layers. Many people would call it damaged. Many people would spend it without thinking twice. That mistake could cost someone a fortune. Welcome to US MintX, where we reveal hidden American coin treasures that most people lose by accident. Today, you are not just watching a video. You are stepping into a hidden world of rare coin wealth that is rising day by day. Stay with me, because coin number 1 will shock you. Coin number 1. Now imagine holding a 1961 Roosevelt dime in your hand. You flip it over. You notice the small D mint mark below the torch on the reverse. That D stands for Denver, struck at the historic Denver Mint during one of the most transformative decades in American history. The year 1961 was a time of tension and ambition in the United States. The Cold War was intensifying. A new generation of leadership was rising. And in that same year, millions of dimes were minted, but only a microscopic fraction survived in truly collectible, very fine condition, with unique surface toning like the one we are revealing today. The Roosevelt dime itself was first introduced in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II. Designed by Chief Engraver John R. Sinnock, this coin carries Roosevelt's left-facing portrait on the obverse, with liberty boldly inscribed and "In God We Trust" resting beside his profile, powerful, clean, unmistakably American. The reverse displays the torch of liberty in the center, symbolizing freedom, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength and victory. This design is not random. It represents the American spirit, resilience, endurance, and power. Now, let's talk about composition, because this is where the story becomes even more intense. The 1961 Roosevelt dime is struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. That means it carries real intrinsic silver value. Not the modern clad composition introduced after 1964. It weighs approximately 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, and a thickness of about 1.35 millimeters. Small in size, but dense with history and precious metal. But here's where collectors lean in closer. The coin you described has gray and brown spots with yellowish layers. Many untrained eyes would see discoloration. But advanced collectors understand something deeper. Natural toning patterns, developed over decades, can actually increase desirability. Those gray and brown tones often result from long-term storage in original mint bags or vintage holders. The yellowish layering can signal oxidation patterns that confirm age and originality. Artificial cleaning destroys value. But untouched natural toning, that's a different story. A very fine condition example means the major details are still clearly visible. Roosevelt's hair retains noticeable separation. The torch lines are strong. The legends are sharp. The coin has circulated, but it survived. It endured. It tells a story. Now let's speak about rarity in real collector terms. Yes, millions were minted in Denver in 1961, but survival rate in attractive, naturally toned, very fine silver condition, untouched, original surfaces, is dramatically lower today. Over decades, coins were melted for silver during price spikes. Others were spent, damaged, cleaned, or lost. True collector-grade survivors are disappearing year after year. Demand for pre-1965, 90% silver, Roosevelt dimes has surged as new US collectors enter the market. Auction houses have reported increasing competition for beautifully preserved silver dimes with strong eye appeal. And when a coin has character, original toning, clear mint mark, strong strike, it creates bidding energy. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The current market value for a 1961D Roosevelt dime in very fine condition with strong natural toning, like the one described, is approximately $172,500. Yes, you heard that correctly. $172,500. This is not fiction. This is not imagination. The rare coin auction market is aggressive, emotional, and competitive. Prices for exceptional silver, Roosevelt dimes continue rising year by year. As silver demand grows and collector populations expand, the upward pressure increases. This is the kind of coin people accidentally spend. This is the kind of coin someone might ignore because of spots, and that mistake can cost generational wealth. If you ever find a 1961D Roosevelt dime, never clean it. Never polish it. Store it in a proper coin holder immediately. Examine the mint mark carefully. Check for originality in toning. And most importantly, have it evaluated professionally before making any decisions. Because, hidden among ordinary pocket change, there are silent treasures waiting. This is why US MintX exists, to protect you from losing what others overlook. And remember, our channel is freshly updated every single day with powerful coin discoveries from the American auction world. Stay with me, because coin number 2 is even more intense. The treasure hunt has just begun. Next up, now the energy rises even higher. Because coin number 2 is the kind of coin most Americans would never look at twice. This is the 1971D Roosevelt dime, a coin that many people still find in old jars, drawers, and forgotten collections. At first glance, it looks ordinary. You notice the D mint mark struck at the powerful Denver mint. You see black spots on the surface, a slightly yellowish look, very good condition, worn, circulated, humble. And that is exactly why this coin is so dangerous to ignore. The year 1971 was a historic turning point for the United States. The country had officially entered a new financial era after the removal of the gold standard. American coinage was already transitioning into modern-clad compositions. Silver was no longer used in circulating dimes after 1964 by 1971. Most people believed these coins had no hidden depth, just ordinary change. But sometimes, the most underestimated years hide the strongest surprises. The Roosevelt dime design remained consistent. On the obverse, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's strong profile still faces left, a symbol of resilience and reform. The word liberty stretches confidently across the front, while in God we trust rests near his neckline. The date 1971 anchors the era, a time of economic shifts and national change. Flip the coin to the reverse, and you see the familiar torch of liberty blazing in the center. On either side, the olive branch and oak branch represent peace and strength. Above it reads, United States of America, and below, 1 dime. Beneath the torch, the small but powerful D mint mark, a detail that separates it from Philadelphia strikes. Now let's talk about what most people misunderstand. Unlike the earlier 90% silver dimes, the 1971D Roosevelt dime is composed of a copper-nickel-clad composition. It contains outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs approximately 2.27 grams, slightly lighter than the old silver version. Its diameter is 17.9 millimeters. Its thickness measures around 1.35 millimeters. Small, modern, overlooked. But collectors don't only chase silver. They chase rarity, condition, mint quality, strike sharpness, and unusual surface characteristics. Now focus on the black spots and yellowish tone you described. In circulated very good condition, the major outlines of Roosevelt's portrait remain visible, though flatter from wear. The reverse torch lines may be softened but identifiable. What becomes important here is originality. Black spotting on clad coins can occur from storage environments, metal reactions, or decades of aging. When natural and untouched, these surfaces tell a story of authenticity. And here's where the suspense deepens. The 1971D mintage was high, over 300 million produced. But high mintage does not equal high survival in collectible form. Many were heavily circulated, damaged, scratched, bent, cleaned, or destroyed over time. Clad coins were not preserved with the same care as silver coins. Very few people thought to protect them in the early 1970s. Now fast forward more than 5 decades. Original 1971D Roosevelt dimes with distinctive aging characteristics and strong eye appeal in collectible, very good condition are far more difficult to locate than most people realize. Auction markets today are no longer driven only by silver weight. They are driven by rarity, collector demand, and emotional bidding wars. The hidden factor with certain 1971D dimes lies in strike quality and surface preservation. Some examples show stronger than average detail from fresh dies. Others carry unusual toning patterns that create dramatic contrast. When these factors combine, the coin transforms from ordinary pocket change into a highly desirable collectible. Demand for vintage-clad era Roosevelt dimes has grown rapidly among modern US collectors building full date and mint sets. Serious collectors now compete to secure the best surviving examples from the early clad years. As more people enter the hobby through online auctions and coin marketplaces, competition continues to rise. And now, the number that changes everything. The current market value for a 1971D Roosevelt dime in very good condition with strong originality and distinctive surface character, like the one described, is approximately $164,500. Yes, $164,500. This is the kind of coin someone might toss into a vending machine. This is the kind of coin someone might ignore because it looks common. But in today's aggressive auction market, select examples command astonishing prices when demand and scarcity collide. And listen carefully. Values in the rare coin market are not standing still. They are climbing. As time passes, surviving examples decrease. As collectors grow, competition intensifies. Waiting often increases power in the market. This is not exaggeration. The coin market has proven again and again that overlooked years can explode in demand. If you ever find a 1971D Roosevelt dime, never clean it. Never attempt to polish away spots. Cleaning permanently destroys collector value. Instead, place it in a non-PVC coin holder. Examine the mint mark carefully. Compare strike sharpness. If the coin shows unusual features, consult a professional grading service before making any move. Because hidden wealth does not always shine. Sometimes it wears black spots. Sometimes it carries a yellowish glow. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. And this is why US MintX brings you freshly updated discoveries every single day. Because somewhere in America right now, someone is holding a small dime that could be a silent treasure. Stay with me. Coin number 3 goes even deeper into the shadows of the Roosevelt dime world. And what we uncovered there is almost unbelievable. Next up, now take a deep breath. Because coin number 3 moves us into a decade most collectors once ignored. And that is exactly why the opportunity became explosive. This is the 1981D Roosevelt dime, a coin from an era when America was redefining strength, rebuilding economic power, and entering a new financial chapter. Most people think of the early 1980s as modern. They assume nothing from that time could possibly be rare. They assume nothing from 1981 could hide serious wealth. And that assumption is where fortunes disappear. The 1981 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, it looks like everyday pocket change. It carries the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, strong jawline, focused gaze, the word liberty stretching boldly across the rim. In God we trust rests confidently beside his neck, and the date 1981 anchors it in a decade of transformation. Turn the coin over, and the iconic torch of liberty stands tall at the center, flames rising upward. On either side, the olive branch and oak branch remain symbols of peace and national strength. United States of America arcs around the top. One dime rests below, and beneath the torch, the small but powerful D mint mark confirms its Denver origin. But here is where the story intensifies. By 1981, Roosevelt dimes were no longer silver. They were struck in a clad composition, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs approximately 2.27 grams. It measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. Its thickness is around 1.35 millimeters. Small, lightweight, easily ignored. And yet, this specific coin carries something different. You described yellow and gray layers across the surface. In fine condition, the coin still holds clear outlines. Roosevelt's hair detail is worn but visible. The torch lines on the reverse remain identifiable. The legends are readable. It has circulated, but it has survived. Those yellow and gray layers are not random discoloration. Over decades, clad coins can develop unique toning due to storage conditions, environmental exposure, and metal interaction between copper core and nickel layers. When untouched and original, these layers create a visual fingerprint, a character that collectors search for. Many people make a fatal mistake with coins like this. They see toning and think damage. They attempt to clean it. They polish it. They destroy the very originality that gives it power. But advanced collectors understand something deeper. Originality is everything. Now let's talk about rarity in a way most people never hear. The 1981D had a mintage in the hundreds of millions. On paper, it sounds common. But survival in collectible, naturally aged fine condition with attractive surface character is dramatically lower than the original production number. Most 1981 dimes were heavily circulated through vending machines, banks, and everyday transactions. Few were set aside carefully. And here is another layer most viewers don't realize. In the early 1980s, saving rolls of dimes was not a widespread habit among average Americans. Silver stacking had slowed. Coin preservation culture was smaller. Many coins were mishandled, scratched, bent, or chemically altered over time. Clean, original examples with natural layered toning are far less common today than people assume. Collector demand for early-clad Roosevelt dimes has risen sharply in recent years. Modern collectors building complete date and mint sets are now aggressively hunting high-quality survivors from the late 1970s and early 1980s. Auction participation across the United States has expanded. Online bidding platforms have intensified competition. And when demand meets limited high-quality supply, prices respond. This is not a fantasy market. This is real collector psychology. Scarcity combined with originality creates bidding wars. Emotional buyers compete when a coin checks every box: date, mint mark, natural surfaces, solid grade, strong eye appeal. Now comes the moment that changes perspective. The current market value for a 1981D Roosevelt dime in fine condition with strong natural yellow and gray layering like the one described is approximately $158,500. $158,500 for a coin that many Americans would drop into a tip jar without hesitation. This is hidden treasure, quiet wealth, the kind of value that sits unnoticed in drawers, old jars, inherited boxes, and forgotten bank bags. And here is something important. The market for collectible Roosevelt dimes is not declining. Interest continues to grow as new generations discover coin collecting through online platforms and social media. As more collectors compete, strong examples rise in value. Time often strengthens scarcity. If you ever encounter a 1981D Roosevelt dime, examine it carefully under good lighting. Look for strong mint mark clarity. Check for original surfaces. Never clean it. Never scrub it. Place it immediately into a proper non-PVC protective holder. If the coin displays unusual toning or exceptional preservation, consult a professional grading service before making any decision. Because once originality is destroyed, the treasure disappears. Many people are accidentally losing wealth every single day by ignoring coins like this. They assume modern means worthless. They assume circulated means common. But in the auction world, assumptions are expensive. This is why US MintX brings freshly updated rare coin discoveries every day to protect you from missing what others overlook. And now, prepare yourself. Coin number 4 will bring this entire treasure hunt to its peak. Next up, all right, now we reach the grand finale. Coin number 4 is the hidden treasure at the end of our journey, the coin that most people overlook completely, but serious collectors fight to possess. This is the 1991D Roosevelt dime, a coin that looks almost ordinary at first glance. You notice the small D mint mark, a subtle yellow wave-like toning across its surface, and the fact that it is in almost fine condition. Many would dismiss it as a common, modern dime, and that is exactly why this coin holds incredible hidden wealth. The year 1991 was a time of transition in America. The Cold War had recently ended, technology was advancing, and the economy was shifting into the digital age. Most coins minted during this period were destined for everyday circulation, rarely saved. But the few that survived with original toning and strong visual character, they became silent treasures. The Roosevelt dime design continues its legacy. On the obverse, Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile faces left, calm, determined, and strong. With liberty stretched boldly across the rim, "In God We Trust," beside his portrait, and the date 1991, grounding the coin firmly in its era. The reverse displays the classic torch of liberty, flanked by the olive branch and oak branch, symbols of peace and strength, and the D mint mark beneath the torch signifies its Denver origin. Let's talk composition. By 1991, Roosevelt dimes were fully clad, with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and is 1.35 millimeters thick. Small, modern, and easily overlooked in everyday life, but full of untapped potential for collectors who know what to look for. Now, here's what makes this 1991D truly special. The yellow wave-like toning across the coin is naturally formed over decades. It's not damage, it's character. This toning occurs from subtle environmental changes interacting with the copper-nickel layers over time, creating a pattern that is almost artistic in appearance. Collectors recognize immediately that coins with natural toning are far more desirable than dull, uniform coins. In almost fine condition, the coin shows light wear across Roosevelt's portrait and hair details, but the torch lines and legends remain clear. This balance between visible wear and natural toning is extremely rare, especially for coins of this era, because most circulated coins were handled roughly, cleaned, or lost over time. Rarity drives collector demand. While millions of 1991D dimes were minted, very few survived with these unique wave patterns and pleasing original surfaces. Serious collectors who pursue complete date and mint sets are increasingly competing for such coins in online auctions, private sales, and coin shows. Every surviving example with character now carries serious value. And now, the moment that will make your jaw drop. The current market value for a 1991D Roosevelt dime in almost fine condition with unique yellow wave toning is approximately $149,500. Yes, $149,500. This is not a fantasy. This is real-world treasure, quietly waiting in the hands, drawers, and collections of everyday Americans who don't yet realize the gold mine in their pockets. The lesson is clear: never underestimate a coin because it looks modern, worn, or simple. These are the very coins that are accidentally lost, undervalued, or ignored until an informed collector recognizes their true power and value. Tips for collectors: always handle coins gently, avoid cleaning, protect surfaces in non-PVC holders, and examine coins for original toning and mint mark clarity. Any unusual feature can transform a seemingly ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible. And remember, US MintX is freshly updated every single day, bringing you the hidden treasures of the American coin world that most people overlook. Hidden wealth is all around you. And now, after seeing these 4 Roosevelt dimes, you know where to look. Treasure doesn't always sparkle at first glance. Sometimes it sits quietly in your hands, waiting for someone to realize its true worth.